Unfortunately, a portion of the building, the southern portion of it, 9.2 feet of it already sits within the rear setback. So we have to get the variance in order to rebuild it as it is. So it's really kind of a modest request and pretty straightforward. The one thing we are doing as we do this, the garden level apartments on the south, the structure there is already intact. The first floor for all the units is already intact, and a couple of the units of the second floor is already intact as a superstructure. We're just going to propose to rebuild the second floor units that had the most damage in their roofs. The units will be entirely rebuilt and refinished on the inside. It'll be all new mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. Everything will be brought up to code, and we're going to add a fire protection system to the building, which it doesn't have today. So at the end of the day, what we're hoping for with the variance granted, that we'll rebuild this building. It'll look like all the rest of the buildings in the community, but it'll be the best building on the community because it'll be current to code and mostly protected. It's pretty straightforward, so I'm open to any questions if you have any.
Great. This is a public hearing, so we'll move on to the public portion of this. If there's anyone in the public who would like to comment, this is your opportunity. And since there is no one, we'll open this up to the board for questions.
I move we vote to approve case number SV 230201.
I second.
All right. Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Gear,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Perkel,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes. Your variance has been approved. You have 180 days to submit your permit, and
Okay.
submitting your permit does not necessarily mean that you will receive your permit.
Sure, that's okay. We'll work with the building department for whatever we have to do there, so that's fine, no problem. Thank you very much for your time.
Great.
Thanks.
Next, we're on to case number SV-23-02-02114 Haven Court.
Hello, I'm Jared Bussey, 1604 28th Avenue South, Homewood. I'm the architect on the project and was actually before you previously a few months ago with this exact same variance. We were granted the variance to maintain a couple of non-conforming conditions as we were adding a second story. Those variances only pertain to the first story of the existing house. We were granted that variance, we got a permit and proceeded with construction. The demolition contractor mobilized, and through the course of demolition, he found a significant amount of termite damage and rotten wood in the exterior walls. When it was found, I believe he tried to reach out to the project manager. He was out of town, and so demo contractor took it upon himself to just go ahead and tear out all of the damaged studs. There was only a small amount that were not damaged, and so he went ahead and just took everything down. So if you've been by the site, there's just a floor plate. There's floor framing and a subfloor there, okay? That ultimately creates a better house because everything is new, but he unknowingly tore down walls that are in non-conforming conditions that we were planning on saving and not touching, okay? So part of our original request left 2 corners of the house alone. We weren't asking for variances. They were non-conforming. We weren't going to touch them. We weren't going to touch the walls or the roof or anything like that. Now that they're gone, we need to ask permission to rebuild them. Okay, so it's the same request with a front variance to kind of raise the old garage wall up, to rebuild the front porch, but now we've had to add 2 more areas on the left side of the house that are now gone that we have to rebuild. So I hope that explains the situation we're in. Ultimately, our all new house is going to look no different than what we originally got approved for by you guys and by the city. The only difference is it's going to have all new studs the second time, right? So That's what was approved, that's what's going to be built exactly. I sent a letter to the neighbors, we've been engaging with them throughout the process. I left letters for them explaining what's happened and what we're doing. I know at least one got back with the city and said she understood and was okay. But does that make sense as to where we are? Again, not trying to change anything, we just want to put back what was.
Jared, we did have one question about.
Sure.
This. We're not certain about the area there, or if, so that may be something that has to be addressed later. And I didn't want you to think that it was part of tonight's approval or request.
As far as the
Front yard coverage.
impervious.
Yeah, I don't know how big it is. We don't know any, and it looks really big,
Okay.
but it's something
I
that,
think we've got that covered in some plan.
okay, good. But in case it's not, I didn't want you to think that it was a part of tonight's.
Right, as far as I
request,
know, that's
yeah.
not an issue we need to variance.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Ah, great, thank you. We'll move on to the public portion of this hearing. If there is anyone from the public who would like to speak, you can come by now. And since there is no one, we will open this up to the board for questions.
Okay.
So it's just because you took down the existing walls that you weren't planning on, you're going right back, same spot with new walls because the demolition contractor tore them down?
Exactly. Walls, rafters, the roof will be the same, the walls will be the same. Yes, sir.
Sherry, were y'all discussing the parking pad?
We were.
Okay. Any
Um,
issue with
he's
what we're
aware that
discussing
it's
today?
not a part of tonight's discussion or approval or anything like that. And if later it's determined it exceeds what's allowed, then he'll have to come back.
He knows
But
where to find us.
But he
No problem.
feels pretty good about the numbers.
Okay.
So
I'll make a motion to approve BZA case SV 23-02-02.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Gear,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Perkel,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes, you have 180 days to pull your permit, but you already have a permit.
Yeah, we'll just keep moving. Okay, thank you, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to BZA case number SV-23-02-03, 1823 Windsor Boulevard.
Hello. I'm Teresa Cannon. My husband James and I reside at 1823 Windsor Boulevard on the Montrose. We're putting a roof on the back of our deck, and we have an existing stair that is, doesn't fit the new ordinance. So we're requesting allowance of a reduction of 4.3 to 4.4 inches. Anyway, the property line is 10 feet to 7.5 inches, so we can keep our steps. So,
Great. We'll move on to the public portion of this hearing. If there is anyone from the public who would like to make a comment, you can. And since there looks to be no one, we'll move on to questions from the board.
And I do have a note from my neighbor saying that it's okay with them, if y'all need that.
So is this basically an existing non-conforming stair that you're just trying to replace?
The stair is staying. We're just trying to get permission for it to stay. Put a roof on the back of the deck is all, and that's next to my neighbor's house.
You're just updating the roof.
Mhm.
the stairs are there, and they exceed 5 feet in height, which means they have to meet the setback of 10 feet. They're at they're at 5.9 feet. It would be compliant if they were less than 5 feet in height, but they're not. So the variance is for the stairs. And they are not roofing the landing. The stairs will be just like they are.
I'll move we vote to approve case SV 230203.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Gear,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Perkel,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes. Your variance has been approved, and you have 180 days to pull your permit.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
you.
it.
And our last one for tonight is BZA case number SV-23-02-04, 1737 Wellington Road.
Hey, how are y'all? I'm Jesse, the contractor, and this is Ferris, the homeowner. So we're trying to do the addition off the back. We've had it drawn twice, and everyone saying it needs to be in that area, but the house is askew on the lot, which is making it very, very difficult to get a design that makes sense for their family. Oh, sorry. I apologize. So it's just making it very, very difficult to build the addition that actually makes sense for the layout of the home. You know, we've had it drawn twice, and everyone's saying it needs to go in the exact same place. The second edition, we tried to shift it back further because we were a little concerned about it. And we're still, you know, pretty close. I've measured between home and home, and we're like 13 feet, 6 inches on the non-conforming existing, and where we're trying to add on to, have the same space already. It's just going on the new addition, it's the same spacing.
Great. If you have nothing else to say, I'll open this up to the public. If there was anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this case, this is your opportunity now. It looks like there's no one, so we'll move on to questions from the board. I was wondering, I don't know how to describe it, but this section right here, is there a reason why you chose to center it instead of shifting it to the right? That would give the neighbor a little more space.
I see what you're saying. I think I see what you're saying. Sorry, can I use this appropriately? Yeah, sure. So basically, you're talking about right here in this corner, or are you talking about the back part and shifting it over?
Yeah, that right,
Further part?
yeah, did you guys consider just making that, that wall go all the way through and to shift that space?
Yes, right here, is the existing bedroom, and this is gonna be their daughter's, and we're adding a little bathroom right there. So that little offset there, I think it's 3.5, 4 feet. It's actually a bathroom, so if I set that back, the hallway that runs through here will now be a hallway. You'll step, and then we'll keep walking. That would be, I don't think it would work at all.
I think I'm missing where the hallway is.
The hallway's coming down through this point, and you enter the master suite portion, and then it goes back. Maybe I'm saying that wrong.
Is it on those plans? You want to show them?
Yeah, I've got the big set of,
Oh, I am looking at the plans. Can I draw it
It's
out
in the
for you?
packet.
Yes, ma'am.
See what you're looking at, or?
Yeah, so like, is there a reason why you can't do this? Shift these two walls so that this wall and this wall align, so that there's more space between the edge of the property here. Like, this space is centered. You can't shift it over to align with this wall here? To give the neighbor more space?
See that?
Right,
Except
because-
for- Well, I guess my doorway openings, they're not big door openings, so if I pull that over, now my opening there, cause this hallway here, I don't think that's a 42-inch hallway, I think it's more like 40 inches.
But if you shift this hallway wouldn't be impacted, it would be more this space.
Is that they're gonna compress the, okay, so she's talking about just the bedroom part, not the bathroom.
Yeah, we can like just slide that bedroom part over.
Yeah, because then this corner right here is the closest part to the property, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So you might get like a little bit,
Yes, ma'am.
like a foot or something?
Yes, I think you're right, yeah, because right here, you're right, 'cause my pocket door starts like right there at the end of the tub, so I could shift that over. The only problem is that, there'll be a nightstand there, and I would actually, I don't wanna walk out of the bathroom with it being on knob.
That's true, but nightstands can move, right? This neighbor can't move their house.
No, you're exactly right, no, you're right.
Sounds good, thanks.
Yeah, I am too. It's gotta be thought into a little bit more, but I think we could always.
So one thing about, can we see the other drawing that was up there before? I think so, yeah.
Brian, can you go to the site plan? Yep, that was it, last one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this corner, this corner is already, we're already, I guess, under variance there, it's the existing corner. So essentially, we're just going with the same configuration, not on purpose, but we're already, I guess, we already have, or maybe, I think it used to be 5 feet, and then it switched to 10 feet. So it's not like we're encroaching more, we're basically along the same plane, if you will. If that makes sense, 'cause the way the property is laid out. So-
I can see what you're saying, but you really are encroaching more, because that's why.
Because we're getting-
That's why it goes from 6'4" to 4'7".
Yes, ma'am.
The other issue is that the adjacent house appears from the aerial is tight to the property line, so extending back that way, you're getting closer to your property line, but you're also making the condition between the two houses worse. And so, should the neighbor also choose to expand in the future, you're kind of creating this bottleneck that doesn't quite exist today. So that's another concern that I have.
And board notes that we did receive a letter of concern from that adjacent property owner with regard to this and the impact on her property, so just, well, I sent you that email.
Is that, is that something we can hear, or is that?
I think, I'm sorry, repeat your question.
Is that public, can you tell us what their concerns are?
Just the potential, I don't have it with me, let me see. I think the proximity. Yeah, I don't get it. I think we'll be on the other side.
slide this out,
You've got, it's in here somewhere.
if we did slide that, and that nightstand's here, it's not a huge deal. The worst case scenario, the bed the worst case, this could slide and that bed could go there, but we're not doing windows here anyway. You know, we're only keeping them here though. Is that gonna be? I always thought that was stupid myself.
All right, here it is. Hello, my name is Jackie Razigi. I'm writing concerning a setback variance requested by our neighbors at 1737 Wellington Road. My husband and I own and live in a house that shares the property line along which the request is being made. The request would place a large addition significantly closer to our home than our houses presently sit, which is concerning for several reasons. The side of our house that faces the proposed addition contains our primary living areas, kitchen, den, and screened porch. Currently, we have great natural light in these spaces and good privacy given the relative proximity of our homes. We are concerned that the proposed addition would compromise both the natural light and privacy of these rooms. Our kitchen windows would look out onto their master bathroom addition. In addition, this close to our home would also be very intrusive on the privacy and subsequent use of our screened porch. Further, given the pitch and slopes of our properties, I'm concerned for potential water runoff and erosion issues if water diversion is not carefully addressed. We are not trying to argue against any addition being made to the Mulkey's home, but rather ask that it be done in a way that is less intrusive and potentially compromising to our home's value and privacy. I am happy to discuss any further issues or concerns. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, Jackie Razigi, 1745 Wellington Road.
That's more like two, it's probably two, I don't have a scaled ruler on me. I met with the homeowners, they were super nice, because I wanted to talk to them about any concerns they had, and we discussed the water, and I said there would be an engineered, water drainage system, which there will be, and I think it's very easy for me as a contractor to know how to do it, but to translate that to them, I think it's a little bit questionable. But from my point of view, the water's not hard, and I can actually do a better job when I do the addition of managing that water runoff. The light, I could see that being a concern, but there's a tree that we're gonna cut down or limb up significantly that will let more light through there. Will it be the same? I don't know that, but yeah, that was their concerns though. But going back to your question, I think we could slide that over a little bit and it actually still makes sense. Looking at it again.
Yeah, because I think that, it does make sense, you guys do have a difficult space,
Yes, ma'am.
but I think there's creative ways to not encroach further into other people's spaces,
Yes, ma'am.
especially since I think it's 15 inches. So,
On that, okay.
So you would be happy if we were to slide I guess we need to look at this drawing. We have it right here. Do you want to just show her?
Would you pop that back up? I don't know who's in control of that.
So this is gonna be a 2 foot.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
can slide the whole thing over 2 feet.
So if we did slide this over and put this wall in line with that, what are y'all thoughts on that?
I can't speak to everybody else, but I feel like when there is more of a concerted effort to be mindful of the neighbors,
Yes, ma'am.
I think it looks more favorable.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
We would typically see some improvement to the existing conditions, so, or the existing condition being maintained, so if you have an existing non-conforming, 6.4 feet setback, be preferable to improve that, even if it maybe still doesn't meet current
Yes, sir.
setbacks, it improves upon the condition.
Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. So if, it would look a lot better if I came in here and said, I got 6.5 inches, it would look a heck of a lot better than 4.7.
It would. No, like, I can't guarantee that the board would
Yes, sir.
approve it, but
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just trying to speak to what we normally see and what may normally pass.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, would y'all like us to still vote on this and consider this variance? Or have y'all kind of,
I would like you to
Okay.
consider it. I mean,
all right?
Is the board going to vote on this according to what is currently presented, or are we considering a proffer from the owner to reduce, to move it over and therefore reduce the side setback? Which you can, if it's less than what was advertised, you could do that, but it would be dependent on a proffer from the owner, or are you going ahead to vote as it is presented tonight?
So we don't have any drawings on anything
That's right, we don't- we
else, so I
don't.
don't know that
All
we're
right,
in a
you
position
prefer
to
for-
proffer at this point.
Prefer a resubmission then and go ahead and vote on it as advertised? Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I ask a question, just to make sure I understand? So are you saying we would have to resubmit with a edited drawing to slide over?
Yes.
Okay, so that wouldn't happen now. And so, okay. But by
Yeah.
voting now, that doesn't,
By voting now, you could see if you would get your variance, right?
Okay.
Because we only know what each of us
Right.
is gonna vote like,
right.
so it's up
But
to
it,
you.
but if it doesn't pass, they resubmit with a new fee.
They
But
can amend their plan and
if-
resubmit.
But if you carry over to next month, resubmit a new plan, you can maintain that fee you have in now.
Do that if you'd like, if you'd like.
But would we not have to re-advertise if that variance is changing?
I mean, they could still request the same variance in proffer with their new plan, or they can do a new application and have this application voted on tonight.
So does that make sense? So it sounds like if you carry it over, then next month you could come back with an option B and say, okay, we proffer this option B.
okay.
Well, it depends too on how quickly you can amend your plan, because we have, the submittal deadline is
I don't have it in front of me.
well, but they would need to get their amended plan in, so we could review it. We just have to review it but they don't need a whole new application, they just need the new plan for us to see. That's true. You don't have to worry about the submittal deadline, but we would want to see it.
Before we got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So,
I think I,
You request that the board can continue your case until the next agenda,
Right.
which is March. And then the variance request would be the same as it is tonight, only you're bringing an amended plan,
right.
that addresses the concerns, and you would then proffer and say, okay, so instead of our request at 4.9 feet, we want whatever you are proposing.
Okay. Gotcha.
But it would be a proffer instead of a new application. Or, door number two is the board votes on what you are requesting tonight. And if it does not go in your favor, you can resubmit an all-new application, with that request.
So you have to meet the deadlines, just like you did
Just
the
like you
first
did
time.
the first time.
And when is that deadline?
It was like last week. So you would be on the April agenda.
Yeah, I think,
Or the ninth is the hard.
yeah, it's
I don't
next
think so. I
week.
think we need a proper, I think if we can slide it over, I think that's gonna be, I think everyone will be happy. That
So-
we did our best to work with the homeowners, the neighbors. I think that's probably the right call.
So what is gonna be required to show that sliding over? It has to be an architectural drawing?
Can you just get that architect, get your architect to change your drawing?
How long do I have? We've had a nightmare dealing with people doing what they say they're supposed to do. But,
We're on architect number 3.
yeah.
We just have to have it before the actual meeting, we don't, I mean, we have to have it ready by the time we come here, there's not a deadline before that,
We
right?
would need to review it before
Or, yeah.
it goes to the board, so,
2 weeks before.
and
Packets usually go out a week before, so we would need it in advance, a week before the next meeting date.
I need it 3 weeks.
3 weeks from now.
I can make that happen.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you can't make it happen by then you just would carry it over again, potentially.
Oh, no, we're gonna make this happen.
So just for clarification, in terms of advertising though, they're gonna come back, we don't need to re-advertise it, it would actually be less than if the board were to approve that revision.
Right, it's
Okay.
just a continuance of
Right,
an already advertised.
okay, all right, got it.
I think it's the right call.
Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Let me,
fine.
We're just trying to figure out if there's some reason the architect did not do that in the first place. I don't know if it's because it's centered or something. We're,
I never know that anyway.
yeah.
And
I believe, if you request that the board continue the case instead of starting over with a new case, that might be a
Yeah.
better option.
Okay.
can I say one thing? I think the 4'7" setback would be easy to slide over. Where the 5'9" setback is, it's gonna be, I don't know how to make that happen, but I do know that I could slide the bedroom over. But as far as the bathroom, I don't know, but I guess that's not a discussion for tonight. So, I wish I could read y'all's minds and I'd just do it, I'd just do that.
But if we did this, if we slide this over.
Mhm. If we slide this over, we're just getting, I think,
The
at
whole thing
least,
will be at least about 6 feet off.
yeah,
Which is better.
because this is non-conforming, we didn't do this, no one's responsible other than us. But, we're getting smaller and smaller, so I think we need to,
Just the bedroom part.
Yeah.
That spacing is, I don't think there's much you can do there. Right.
I don't see it either. Because that hallway, I
All
think
right.
that hallway's under,
I
it's
think
already like
we'll,
36.
Whatever you call it.
Request a continuance.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Great. All right. Thank y'all.
Do we need to,
No, his agreeing to that, there's, don't need a motion. It's continued based on your request, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
See y'all next month.
Thank y'all very much, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time, appreciate that.
Glad y'all saved us to last.
Madam Chair, Mr. Foley, thank you for your service. This is your last month with us.
It is?
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for sticking around for so long. Extra innings,
It's been a pleasure.
overtime.
Thank you to the staff. So there's been quite a bit of improvement since my first days on the board. You guys have done a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
with that, are there any communications from the staff? I'll take that as a no, and we will adjourn this week's meeting.